How's it going, everybody? We are back in the divisional rounds. Playoffs essentially start now. We got 9 teams competing for 5 slots. Only one team has clinched a spot in the playoffs right now. That is Achan in the Membrane, who has clinched himself the #1 overall seed, a bye week in week 15, the Division 2 championship. He's got it all. And how did it happen? Well, I benched Tyreek Hill for Terry McLaurin or Kareem Hunt, depending on how you think about it. The point is, it was a terrible decision either way, but I almost snuck in the win anyway. Almost got it. And then I end up losing by 2 points. And well, you look for yourself. Any telling of this game starts here. It's the first play of the game from scrimmage. CJ Stroud under center, fakes the handoff. Nico Collins immediately in the backfield. And oh boy, here we go. Off to the races. First play of the game, and I die to a 77-yard screen pass. But that one didn't end up counting. An eligible man downfield calls it back. I'm sitting here texting Achan going, well, this game's over. They're designing stuff to him. Surely he's about to just blow me out, right? Oh, I couldn't have been more wrong. It all comes down to one fucking play that you're about to see right now. At this point in the game, Nico Collins has had 3 receptions. He's got 5 points. I'm 2 ahead. This is the last catch he's going to get of the game, and there it is. A 35-yard completion, and I die just like that. Didn't even have the courtesy of scoring a touchdown or hitting an overage on the receptions or hitting an overage on the yardage. No. We're going to hit under on everything, wipe me out financially. And then on top of that, he's going to get just enough so that I lose by a nightmare-inducing 2 points. Literally if you look at my lineup from last week, okay, I had Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnston, Tyreek Hill, Will Levis, I had all these people on the bench. Any one of them, and I would have won the game. Any one of them. I started the worst possible lineup that I could have given my players, and I still came within 2 points. If life were a Disney movie, this is all just setting up for me to go on a nice 3-0 run. I'm going to meet Achan in the playoffs, and I'm going to beat him. But life is not a movie. Life is a goddamn tragedy. So I'm about to lose this week to Dr. Stopak, the only person in the league who lost a frickin' 666. That's what's going to happen to me. But a lot of you also have some pain in store for you. Like I said, it is the divisional round that is upon us. And it really is a round of the playoffs. Essentially, the playoffs this year is going to start with a round robin in the divisions. You can throw out the records for anybody not named Achan in the Membrane. If you win out, you're going to the playoffs. If you lose out, you're not going to the playoffs. It's really that simple. Let's see who's going to start this unofficial beginning of the playoffs off on the right foot, shall we? Let's take a look at the big board. Matchup number 1 of the week, myself against Otto Pickens. This one is pretty straightforward. Everybody's just starting their studs. Lions team is going to do what the Lions do. Last week, everybody ate. It's been that way most of the season. I keep asking myself, when is the bust going to come where these 2 running backs don't both have a great game? It never happens. This week against the Indianapolis Colts in a dome, bad team. I don't think it happens here. I think they all eat again, unfortunately. Calvin Ridley having a really good connection with Will Levis. DeAndre Hopkins coming along really well for the Kansas City Chiefs. A.J. Brown been good for the Eagles. Kyler Murray in a potential shootout with the Seattle Seahawks. He's got good matchups up and down this roster other than Rico Dowdle, who, this is really for lack of anything else. He's got Kirk Cousins and Darnell Mooney on a bye week. So I got a little bit lucky there, but very scared of the matchup on deck here. Terry McLaurin, I'm really concerned, is about to be shut down by Trevon Diggs because that has happened in the last couple of times they faced each other. Tyreek Hill, I benched him last week, didn't go well. Every week I've started him this year, it hasn't been very great, so I'm expecting to get hurt again. Kenneth Walker, he's always a big mystery. Is the game script going to work out for him or not? I'm hopeful that he can at least hit his projection, but this feels high in this game. Josh Jacobs, the quadricep injury. He's had that the last few weeks coming in. He's still averaging about 20 touches a game. I feel good about that one. TJ Hawkinson, really disappointing game last week, but it was also against the Tennessee Titans team that has a tendency to shut down the tight end position, shut down all positions, frankly, just a good defensive squad for the most part. So, not too worried about that, but certainly more nervous than I was when I traded off Trey McBride to go get Josh Jacobs. Lad McConkey, that shoulder injury from the end of last week that kept him out of like a quarter of the game. He had a really nice second half against the Bengals, but I've made so many bad sit decisions this season that this versus Quentin Johnson is going to keep me up every night until Monday Night Football. And I'm really just hoping that they rest him for a week just to get over the shoulder thing and make the decision for me. That would really be the best thing, especially in a game like this with such a juicy matchup in Baltimore that I really don't want to get that decision wrong, but I feel like I'm about to. Warren really needs to win this one, but I absolutely must win this one, which makes me feel like I'm about to lose. But either way, if I win, I'm not in, but I'm just still alive. Otto Pickens wins. He's punching his ticket to the playoffs. I feel pretty confident about that. Next matchup, Megatron against KD over TDs. This is the matchup last week that I said, Megatron, you got to get a win because you're going into next week where you're going to get a loss. And he's turned this into still a 32% underdog, but not a guaranteed loss like it was when I looked at this squad a week ago. He's picked up Elijah Moore. He's picked up Demario Douglas. Roschon Johnson and Jonathan Brooks has been on his team all season. He's been waiting for that one to pan out. But Chuba Hubbard getting that massive multi-million-dollar extension. Megatron, more than anybody, believes that contracts are a predictive indicator for utilization. Chuba Hubbard's getting paid to be the starter, not Jonathan Brooks. So this one I don't think is going to go super well for him, especially in a game against KC where they are underdog. They are double-digit underdogs at home. Doesn't really bode well for Jonathan Brooks here, but Roschon Johnson been getting some nice goal line work. That's what you're hoping for here. Get a vulture a 1 yard touchdown once or twice, and you'll be happy here. David Njoku, good matchup tonight against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers are very good defense. They're beat up. It's a divisional game. I think the Browns are going to be able to move the ball a little bit more easily than people are expecting here. And that should bode well for David Njoku. CeeDee Lamb is CeeDee Lamb. You can't really get away from him. As long as he's starting, you're going to be playing him, even if he's got Cooper Rush or whoever else throwing into him out of the backfield. Everybody else on bye, no one else for him to pivot to. KD over TDs. Again, the most vulnerable person in playoff position right now is KD over TDs. He's been starting Matthew Stafford, who started out really terribly. He was on my team. I dropped him. He picks him up. Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua come back. Suddenly, Matt Stafford, looking like the Matt Stafford of old. How many points has he got? I think he was a top 5 quarterback last week. Yes, he was. 27.8 last week. 17-24 in the 2 weeks before. So 3 out of the last 4 weeks, he's putting up QB1 numbers. 9 points against a very solid Miami defense, but coming up against Philadelphia this week. Philadelphia, the only defense that is top 5 against every position in fantasy football right now. That's a tough matchup, tough break on Sunday Night Football. We'll see how it works out for him. Justin Jefferson, obviously that dude, possibly, if he's not the number 1 receiver in fantasy, he's certainly the number 2 receiver in fantasy after Jamar Chase. George Pickens has just completely turned things around with Russell Wilson getting him those moon balls. I think he should have a good game here tonight. Although is Denzel Ward healthy? I don't know. Does he shadow? I don't know. I'd be a little bit worried about Denzel Ward. Jaylen Warren been looking really strong as the emerging backup in the Pittsburgh backfield. Don't love having both of these in the same game. Chuba Hubbard against Jonathan Brooks. Do love having that in the same game because that is just a huge flip. Whoever gets the touchdown it's like doubly damaging to the other team. So that's a huge matchup to watch out for. Travis Kelce, been a little bit hit or miss this season, but he's still Travis Kelce. He can get 10 receptions in a game. You don't need to get a touchdown. So against this Carolina Panthers defense, he should eat nicely. Deebo Samuel, no longer the number 1 receiver down there in San Francisco. It's the Juwan Jennings show these days, it seems. Drake May against Miami. This is two bad matchups here for KD over TDs. This is winnable for Megatron. This is winnable. And God help us if Megatron wins, because this is the game that he really should lose. But the matchups here, you know, I get it. I'm going to look very stupid for saying this when KD blows him out, but there's a world here where Megatron wins. And it's a world where the rest of us are very, very unhappy. Moving on. This is the second worst matchup of the week. 666 against Return of the King. 666 playing for his career here, playing for his fantasy livelihood here, playing for the respect and admiration of his peers, and at least not their open contempt. I really see no way for him to win this game. His team is complete garbage. Anybody he starts doesn't do very well. Anybody he doesn't start on his bench is going to blow up. I mean, Westbrook Akine had that 198-yard reception last week, and suddenly he's starting here. He's not going to get anything this week. Don't kid yourself. This is a waste of a roster slot. Marquez Valdez-Scantling would be a better start here, Simon, okay? I know you're not going to listen to me, so good luck with your Westbrook Akine pick. DJ Moore did okay last week. Did just enough to keep him in your starting lineup, but not that great there. J.K. Dobbins, again, losing more and more of the work. He had fewer carries last week than in any week since week one. He's getting fewer touches on the ball as the season goes on. Yes, he got a couple of touchdowns. That saved his week last week, but arrows pointing down on J.K. Dobbins. Najee Harris, arrows pointing down on Najee Harris. Zach Ertz, arrow was never really pointing up on Zach Ertz. DK Metcalf, one of the shining spots on this team. He should have a good game against the Arizona Cardinals. Shootout spot here. Really like DK in this spot, as a matter of fact. Rachaad White, almost nobody left alive in Tampa Bay other than Cade Otton, Bucky Irving, and Rachaad White. So, like this start. But overall, I mean, Juwan Jennings, Ramondre Stevenson, Trey McBride, Brian Robinson Jr., Derrick Henry. I mean, come on. This team is going to win. It's written in the stars, people. It's written in the stars. Not even starting Devontae Smith is just... Are you kidding me here? Are you not even... You traded Amon-Ra St. Brown for a guy that's now on your bench? For Nick Westbrook Akine? Make it make sense. God. Can't wait to kick you out. Moving on. Ooh, this is a barn burner right here. Not a lot in the points projected department, but this means a ton for Division 3 and for the entire playoff picture in the league. Underdog anchor champ against Achilles heel. 4th versus 6th. Achilles heel has been in that 4th place spot literally the entire season. Since we left the last divisional round, she has been in 4th place. She finally loses it last week. And who does she play? The person in 4th place. This is a huge, huge matchup. Jaden Daniels versus Jalen Hurts. I mean, yeah, I think Hurts is going to do better, but wouldn't be surprised if Jaden Daniels did. Malik Neighbors against Josh Downs. Mike Evans against Romeo Dobbs. James Conner, Aaron Jones, Jerome Ford, Tony Pollard. Freiermuth against Jonnu Smith. I like the Jonnu Smith pickup, I got to say. He's been sneaky good the last couple of weeks. Bucky Irving, same thing. Jerry Jeudy, great pickup by underdog anchor champ. Looking like, at least the wide receiver number 2 out there in Cleveland Browns. The problem is the way Jameis Winston is throwing right now. These guys are all on target for like almost 200 targets in a season if it were to keep up. He's throwing like 50 passes a game. I don't know if that continues the entire season, but I like also this as kind of limiting the upside of Jameis Winston on the other side here. Ideally, I guess you would want to see Jerome Ford get touchdowns, steal a couple from Nick Chubb. I don't know how likely that is, but I guess it's possible. Surely he must not have anybody else he could start. Jameson Williams, he actually could start, but he is choosing not to. Interesting. Brock Purdy got that injury. He's deciding to roll with Russell Wilson in the flex spot on Thursday Night Football. Shame on you. Shame on you. You never play flex players on Thursday night. Amateur. Both of you. Amateurs. And that's all I got to say about that. Ooh. You know what? This is the game of the week. This is the game of the week. Cup this chub. Troy Polamalu. This is monkey off your back time for Cup this chub. He did beat Troy Polamalu in week 3 of this year. But Troy did not have Puka Nakua. He didn't have Christian McCaffrey. He didn't have Joe Mixon. And he didn't have George Kittle. He's got all of them back for this game. And this is a team in Troy Polamalu that had something like an 11-game winning streak against Cup This Chubb coming into this season. An outrageous number. He would have won 5 of the last 6 weeks, even with how well Cup This Chubb is playing. This is the game that decides if Cup This Chubb is going to the playoffs or if this is another season where he's wondering what could have been. And man, it couldn't be a better matchup. 130 to 124 projected, the highest points total projected in the league. Patrick Mahomes, Geno Smith, Zay Flowers, Puka Nakua, Cooper Kupp, Jason Minton, Saquon Barkley, Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, Christian McCaffrey. The worst player in the game is Nick Chubb. That's insane. And I say that even with Tyron Tracy over here. I mean, these are two complete lineups. There are no gaps in the coverage here. I'm a little surprised he doesn't have Jordan Taylor for Nick Chubb, and then I'm guessing he has nobody on bye. Ooh, interesting. No Cortland Sutton, instead putting in Nick Chubb. I don't know if I agree with that. I'm a little biased, but Cortland Sutton's looked really nice the last few weeks, and playing against the Las Vegas Raiders team that has been porous, as I like to say. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I would switch out Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor, and put in Cortland Sutton. We'll see on Sunday whether I was right or if Cup This Chubb was right. And last and least, the worst game of the week. It's H-Han of the Membrane against Garth Mall. I'm not going to stick too long on this. Garth Mall is missing Joey B and T. Higgins and a couple of other players. She's missing all of her best players. H-Han of the Membrane is going to win anyway. This one's pretty straightforward. H-Han's going to win. Garth is going to lose. And then Garth, the question is, can you survive taking the loss to 7 here? We'll see. And on to week 12, pick 6. Let's keep it quick here. I want to make it so that this gets out for kickoff, which is only in like 45 minutes here. So here we go. Seattle -1 against the Arizona Cardinals. Feel like it could be a shootout. I'm just taking the home team here. I think it's hard to play on the road against Seattle. I'm expecting a regression to the mean of the crazy kind of drive killing mistakes that the Seattle Seahawks have had. The number of times that their drives have ended because of a botched snap, the most basic play in football, I do expect that to come down a little bit. I like the price we're getting Seattle out here, so give me the -1. Eagles -3 at the Rams on the road. The Rams don't really get to play home games, first of all. I mean, I expect there to be a green wave at SoFi Stadium this weekend on Sunday Night Football. And this Philadelphia defense is just for real. They're top 5 in every category. They shut down your number one weapon. They shut down your run game. They shut down your quarterback. They shut down your receivers. They are a complete team. And yes, Jalen Hurts and the offense have been a little, touch and go there. But Saquon Barkley is just the magic that makes everything. It covers up all the mistakes. So give me the Eagles -3, no hook, love it. Moving on. Detroit. After last week against the Jaguars, I wish I had put my house on the game last week. I'm not going to do it this week either, but I am going to ride with the Lions until the wheels fall off. They have shown that they don't care how much they're up or how much time is left or what the proper thing to do is. They're going to keep biting kneecaps as long as you let them. So I think the Colts are going to let them bite a whole lot more than their kneecaps off. Give me the 7 with the hook. That feels very good. Denver. This one I've seen all over the place in terms of pricing. Opened up at Raiders -1.5. Has been bet all the way up to 6. I got it at -4.5, which I think is a great value, but all the way up to 6, I like. this was a competitive game a few weeks back in Denver. Completely turned around after Pat Surtain got the pick six. So there's a world where I do see this being a close game. But I mean, yeah, I want the Denver defense against Gardner Minshew every day of the week. Thank you very much. 6 points sounds good. I would take that all the way up to 7 and a hook even. Washington minus 10.5 against Dallas. This one scares me. Every time I feel really good about the Commanders, they let me down. But this week, Dan Quinn going back to Dallas, facing Dallas again. I just think they're going to put the absolute hammer to them. And yes, I'm worried about Terry McLaurin specifically getting his in this game. But Austin Eckler and Brian Robertson Jr. should get this one done. Jaden Daniels should figure out how to spread the ball. And I just don't see how Dallas scores in this game. Their offense is putrid right now. So give me Washington. Give me the 10 with the hook. Miami, flat 7 against the Patriots. The Dolphins were good against the Patriots when the Patriots were good. So now that the Patriots suck, yeah, I like the Dolphins a whole lot, especially with Tua and Tyreek finally seeming to click. Offense is finally getting things going, and this game is not in New England. I'm a little worried about Thanksgiving next week against the Packers, but that's a whole other story. This week in Miami against the Patriots, give me the 7 points. I'll lay them. And I'm laying a ton of points this week. All favorites, very chalky. Don't feel good about it, but hey, I didn't feel good about the last time I went 6-0. So make of that what you will. I know that I owe you an update on the Capper contest. It'll be out on next week's episode because I want to get this out for kickoff. Okay, thank you, everybody. Bye.